Most people think people-pleasing comes from kindness. The Buddha said it actually comes from fear, and the difference changes everything. Have you ever changed your opinion just to avoid disappointing someone? Have you ever said yes when your heart wanted to say no? Or spent hours replaying a conversation, wondering whether someone approved of you? If so, you're not alone. Many people spend their entire lives seeking acceptance from others, never realizing how much of themselves they are giving away in the process. They shape their words, hide their feelings, and silence their truth, all for the hope of being liked. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the root causes of suffering, and one of the strongest attachments is not to money, possessions, or even relationships. It is the attachment to approval. Today, we'll explore why people-pleasing creates suffering, and how Buddhist wisdom can help you finally break free from the need to be liked. A student once asked a monk, "Why do I care so much about what people think of me?" The monk looked at him and replied, "Because you have allowed strangers to become the authors of your self-worth." The student sat silently. For the first time, he realized how much of his life had been shaped by the opinions of others. Many of us do the same. When someone praises us, we feel uplifted. When someone approves of our choices, we feel accepted. For a moment, there is relief, a sense of comfort, a feeling that we are enough. But the feeling never lasts. Soon, we begin looking for the next compliment, the next sign of approval, the next reassurance that we are worthy. It is like drinking salt water. The more we consume, the thirstier we become. This is the hidden trap of seeking validation. What begins as a desire to be liked slowly becomes a dependence. We start measuring our value through the reactions of others. Many people spend their lives trying not to offend, trying not to disappoint, trying to be everything everyone wants them to be. Yet, despite all their efforts, they never feel truly secure. Why? Because approval can never provide lasting peace. It is temporary by nature. One day it is given, and the next day it can be withdrawn. The Buddha taught that anything we depend on for happiness becomes a source of suffering when it changes, and the opinions of others are always changing. What comes from others can always be taken away by others. True peace begins when we stop searching for our worth in places where it was never meant to be found. People-pleasing often looks like kindness. It looks like generosity, patience, understanding. It appears selfless on the surface. And because of this, many people spend years believing their people-pleasing habits come from a good heart. But if we look more closely, we often discover something hidden beneath the behavior. Fear of rejection, of conflict, of criticism, of being abandoned. A person who constantly seeks approval is rarely asking what is the right thing to do. More often, they are asking, what can I do to avoid disapproval? Many people say, I'm just being nice. But secretly, they are terrified of what might happen if they stop. They agree when they disagree. They apologize for things that require no apology. They avoid difficult conversations because they cannot bear the thought of upsetting someone. Little by little, they learn to sacrifice honesty for acceptance. Imagine someone who is exhausted after a long week. A friend asks for a favor. Deep down, they want to say no. They need rest. Yet they immediately say yes. Not because they genuinely want to help, but because saying no feels dangerous. What if the friend becomes upset? What if they are judged? What if they are no longer liked? The Buddha taught that fear grows whenever our happiness depends on conditions outside ourselves. When our peace depends on the approval of others, every disagreement feels threatening. Every criticism feels personal. If your peace depends on everyone liking you, your peace is never truly yours. It belongs to whoever has the power to take their approval away. Imagine a tree standing in an open field. Each time the wind blows, it bends a little. At first, there is nothing wrong with this. Flexibility helps the tree survive, but if it spends years bending to every gust, never resisting, never returning to its natural position, something begins to happen. Eventually, it forgets its original shape. Many people live this way. In their desire to be accepted, they slowly adjust themselves to meet the expectations of others. They hide opinions that might cause disagreement. They suppress needs that might inconvenience someone. They ignore boundaries to avoid disappointing others. Little by little, they become experts at reading the room while losing touch with themselves. At first, these sacrifices seem small. A withheld opinion here, an unwanted commitment there, a smile that hides frustration, a silence that conceals truth. But over time, these moments accumulate. The person becomes so focused on being who others want them to be that they no longer know who they are when no one is watching. This is the hidden cost of seeking approval. One day, many people-pleasers wake up feeling deeply exhausted, not because they have been rejected, not because they have failed, but because they have spent years abandoning themselves. The tragedy is not that others failed to see their worth. The tragedy is that they stopped seeing it themselves. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins when we become attached to an identity that is not our true nature. People-pleasing asks us to wear masks. Wisdom asks us to remove them. The Buddha called this clearly. Every time you betray yourself to gain approval, you strengthen the belief that your true self is not enough. The more often you do it, the more difficult it becomes to remember who you truly are. There is an old Zen saying, "What others think of you is none of your business." It sounds almost harsh at first. But the Buddha taught the same truth in a different way. The opinions of others belong to them, not to you. This was one of the Buddha's most profound teachings. The Buddha never taught people to control how others see them. He never promised a life free from criticism, rejection, or misunderstanding. Instead, he taught something far more powerful. Learn to understand your own mind. Why? Because praise comes, criticism comes, approval comes, rejection comes. No matter how carefully you live, all of these experiences will eventually arrive. They are part of the human condition. A person may admire you today and disagree with you tomorrow. Someone may praise your kindness one moment and criticize your choices the next. If your happiness rises and falls with every opinion, your life becomes an emotional roller coaster controlled by forces outside yourself. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that attachment creates suffering, and attachment to praise is no different from attachment to wealth or status. A person who depends on praise suffers when praise disappears. A person who fears criticism suffers whenever criticism arrives. Both are trapped. One is chasing approval, the other is running from rejection. But both have given their inner peace away. The truly peaceful person lives differently. They listen to feedback without becoming dependent on it. They remain humble when praised and steady when criticized. Their identity is not built upon the shifting reactions of others. Instead, it is rooted in something deeper: integrity, awareness, and self-respect. When you know your values and live in alignment with them, you no longer need everyone to approve of you. This is what freedom actually looks like. Inner peace begins when self-respect becomes more important than approval. The moment you stop asking others to decide your worth is the moment true freedom begins. Think of someone you know who never says no. They are always available, always accommodating, always the first to volunteer and the last to rest. From the outside, it looks like generosity. But look closer, and you will often find exhaustion. And beneath the exhaustion, a question they have never allowed themselves to ask. Why has everyone else's comfort become more important than my own peace? Many people grow up believing that saying no is selfish. They are taught that good people are always available, always accommodating, always willing to put others first. As a result, they learn to ignore their own needs. They say yes when they mean no. They give more than they can sustain. They carry responsibilities that were never theirs to carry. But wisdom teaches something different. A healthy boundary is not a wall that shuts people out. It is a gate that allows you to choose what enters your life and what does not. Boundaries protect your energy. They protect your truth. They protect your peace. Without boundaries, compassion easily becomes exhaustion. Generosity becomes resentment. Kindness becomes self-sacrifice. The Buddha never taught people to abandon themselves for the sake of others. He taught the middle way, a path of balance, awareness, and wisdom. You can care deeply about people without making yourself responsible for their happiness. You can be compassionate without being available to everyone. This is one of the hardest lessons for people-pleasers to learn. Because every healthy boundary disappoints someone who benefited from your lack of one. Yet disappointment is not harm. It is simply the natural consequence of no longer abandoning yourself. Here is what wisdom teaches. Maturity begins when you stop measuring your worth by other people's comfort. True kindness is not found in endless sacrifice, but in living honestly while treating both yourself and others with respect. The need for approval is not a character flaw. It is a habit of the mind, a habit built from fear and strengthened through years of repetition. But habits can change. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need everyone to agree with you. And you do not need everyone to like you in order to have worth. The Buddha taught that freedom comes not from controlling the opinions of others, but from letting go of the attachments that keep us suffering. Perhaps one of the greatest acts of freedom is to live honestly, speak truthfully, act with kindness, and remain at peace, even when not everyone approves. The day you stop needing approval is the day you begin living as yourself. If this teaching resonated with you, there is more where this came from. Every week, we explore ancient Buddhist wisdom that speaks directly to the challenges of modern life. On letting go, finding peace, overcoming fear, and living with greater clarity and intention. If you're ready to go deeper, subscribe and join a growing community of people choosing wisdom over worry and freedom over approval. Hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.